Okay, so it seems like everyone is on the call. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to introduce myself if we haven't formally met prior. My name is Latoya McCrae, and I am the Integration and Training Coordinator here at SIU. And I would like to introduce my coworker, Natasha Telger.
Hello.
And at this brief moment, there are a few members on the call. If you can just introduce yourself, I'm going to use the participation list so it can be in an organized manner. Just introduce yourself and what agency that you work for. So I'll start with Mark Burgess.
Yeah, it's Mark Burgess with the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, also staff to the Illinois Workforce Innovation Board and coordinating professional development from the board's perspective.
Okay, thanks, Mark. The next one is Lisa. I think her phone is on mute at the moment. We'll just go down to Tammy.
Hi, my name is Tammy Yarbrough. I'm with AACF. I'm program director here, and we work with youth and adults for job training and placement programs.
All right, thanks, Tammy.
You're welcome.
And Lisa, are you there? Okay, maybe a technical difficulty on her end. Just want to say thank you so much for all joining this call. And I just wanted to give some housekeeping. This call will be recorded, so I will send out a link after this webinar is completed, so you can use it for your reference if you want to, any information you want to provide based on this webinar, please feel free to review it. And that's about it. So the purpose of this webinar is to introduce you to the new course Illinois WorkNet is having. We're doing an introduction to Illinois WorkNet to introduce our partners to the various tools that we have on our site and to ensure that the partners are familiar with our tools and guides to better serve the customers within your agency or company. So our agenda for today is the purpose, roles and responsibility. The audience will serve proposed development approach, instructional design plan, and next steps. Just want to make this call very clear is that we need your input. This will be an advisory work group, so your input and feedback based on your expertise and your background is very beneficial for us to make sure that we create a course that meets all of our partners' needs. So as I stated prior, the purpose of this course is to provide a high-level overview of the state's workforce portal to ensure that customers have access to no-cost resources and tools, and that's through Illinois WorkNet. And with this course, we want to make sure that each participant or customer per se understands the career development process, starting out with their exploring careers down to finding job opportunities or training as well. Roles and responsibilities. Here for the SIU staff, our role is to assess the needs of the learners, which is the customers that we serve, and design and develop content for the course. As for you all as an advisory work group, we want to make sure that you can help us to provide guidance and feedback on business requirements, course length, content, course delivery, and etc. And we'll get into that furthermore. The Canvas staff, I'll introduce you to that later on in a presentation. Canvas will be a software company that we'll use. They will help us to maintain the course catalog and registration, And then our programmers here at SAU to help us with any technical assistance that we may come across to make sure that the course is user-friendly for all of our partners. For this course, our target audience is you, the workforce development and educational partners. We want to make sure that you have a thorough knowledge of how to use Illinois WorkNet to its best ability, so you can take that information or from your staff, frontline staff, or managers to make sure they understand the various tools and guides to assist the customers. So after this course, we will be working on various modules that are more in-depth that we may cover throughout the course. We'll have additional modules as well, but our main priority is to develop this course. Some of you have previously been involved in the Illinois Workforce Professional Development Academy that we had a few months ago. We're going to pull from that competency model approach and basically use the competency skills that will help workforce development partners with receiving, the skills and knowledge and ability that they will need to be successful in their role. So those competency skills that we've pulled from the academy that we felt would be beneficial is customer service, technology, career development, labor market information, program implementation, principles and strategies, workforce development, structure, policies and programs, and communication. So on your end, from a workforce development or educational professional, what other competency skills that you see may not be listed on here that you feel that will be beneficial? Any thoughts? Okay. So we have some proposed learning objectives. So everyone received the materials prior to the webinar. Hopefully everyone was able to take a glance at the slides. So our proposed learning objectives for this course is 1, to gain an understanding of the benefits of using Illinois WorkNet and describe the value it has to its stakeholders. 2, navigate the Illinois WorkNet website to identify training and employment resources and tools for individuals, partners, and employers. 3, assess customers' training and employment needs and apply best practices through case studies and/or scenarios. And 4, utilize Illinois WorkNet guides and tools to incorporate into their day-to-day job responsibilities. So these are proposed learning objectives. If you feel that we need to adjust the learning objectives or add on to it, please feel free to email me, and I'll put my email again in the chat box. And it's just latoya.mccray@siu.edu. So we're going to look at the instructional design plan. So to ensure that we develop this course thoroughly, to make sure that we have everything that we need and sets the learner's needs, we're going to use a training and development model called the ADDIE model. And basically, the ADDIE model stands for Analyze, Design, Develop, Implement, and Evaluation. Basically, it takes you through a whole process for assessing the needs of the learners, to developing the content and design how the course should look like based on learning learning styles along with implementing a course, and evaluation. Was the course successful? Is there any additional things that we need to add to improve on the course? So it's a continuous process. So business requirements, we ask that the advisory group will help us to provide guidance on the initial process. So we need to identify authenticated and unauthenticated users. So this is a time that we would like your feedback on who should be authenticated and unauthenticated users, because we know that we need to track information that's in the system for various services and needs. And I see that Lisa has a question. There's two questions. So can you list what ADDIE means here? Thanks. Okay. Tammy, I'm not too sure if you heard me, but ADDIE is a training and development model that trainers or instructional designers use to help them with the process of developing a course. So once again, ADDIE stands for, ADDIE stands for Analyze, Develop, Design, Implement, and Evaluate. And the next question that was in the chat box is, I would suggest we add cultural competencies as one of the, okay, thanks, Lisa. I'll add that on there. And that's very important because we do work with various customers, whether it's cultural background along with education and things of that sort. So that's very helpful. Thank you, Lisa, for that. And Mark stated that this may relate to Lisa's comment, but equity is generally might be considered. Okay. All right, great. So now that we have that squared away, we need to identify for this particular course who would be the authenticated and unauthenticated users. So are there any frontline staff in your agency that you feel that you need to track to make sure that they took this course? Or, go ahead, is that Natasha?
Yeah, Latoya. Hey, just to make sure, just to make, with terminology and stuff, that people know what we mean by authenticated and unauthenticated users. The authenticated users would people who need to log into Illinois WorkNet to access certain tools, and unauthenticated users are just our general users who never sign in.
Thanks, Natasha. Okay, things with business etiquette be a sense to that. Okay, all right. Any feedback on who those users should be? Tammy, the users for this particular course would be employees, frontline staff, workforce, and educational professionals, those that work with the customers. Okay. So moving on, the second one is, are users required to complete an informative assessment at the end of the course? If so, what type of assessment and score is needed? So should we, for certain credentials, should we add a formative assessment like a test based on all the modules that they learned throughout the course, and test them to make sure that they receive, let's say, a digital badge or whatnot? A digital badge is something we'll discuss later on in a presentation, but it's basically a credential that's stating that you have the knowledge of a particular subject matter.
Hey, Latoya, also, could you maybe like just kind of give maybe like an example of what it would be like to not use one versus using one? Because I think sometimes when I think of, excuse me, not using one, I think of the ethics test, but I'm not sure how many people are like actually familiar with the ethics test and how it's set up, you know, versus, you know, so if you have the formative assessment, you know, what does that mean? And if you said not to have the formative assessment, like what do those look like?
Okay, so if we do not, so a formative assessment is just a test at the very end where you're taking all the information that you learned throughout the course, and basically it's just this one test to make sure that it's a comprehensive test. So that's at the very end of the course. Like we've been in school and we get a final per se. If we don't have a test at the very end, what we can do is assess the user's knowledge throughout each module in the course. So for example, we might have a module on exploring careers. So we might have many interactive activities such as what is the definition of exploring careers? And they will use, you know, a drop down box or drag and click feature to make sure that they understand the material that is given. So we can assess that they understand the material that is presented in that particular module versus learning all of that in one module and then having an exam or a test at the very end. Just looking at the group chat just to see if there's any questions. So any preference, should we have a formative assessment at the end or just do interactive learning activities throughout each module? Okay. The next question is, we'll table that. If you have any other suggestions at the end of this webinar, please feel free to let me know via email. And the next one is, after the introduction course, which topics should be addressed for next modules? And that's something that you can email me as well if you feel that there's particular need that you've seen in your agency or in your organization. That, for example, it might be a module on case notes, a module on communication skills. So assessing what your professional workforce or educational professionals may need, that is something that you can address with us later on. Okay, and as far as the digital badge is concerned, Tammy stated that she believes that it would be, I think giving a badge at the end is good. I think eligibility. Okay. And that will be an additional module that we can add after this course. So right now we're looking at Canvas. Canvas is a web-based learning management system that we'll use for the Introduction to Illinois WorkNet online course. And it basically helps us to manage the course. So that will be any materials that we may, resources to help as supplemental resources for the course, calendars, notification, grades. It help us to track to see which individuals took the course, and if there's a grade, which we didn't decide, but if there was a testing grade at the end, we'll know their grade, and Canvas will also issue certificates of completion at the end. So So this is the software that we'll be using to manage the actual course. Articulate 360 is an e-learning software that we'll use to actually design the course to develop modules and make sure that they have interactive features on there to ensure that the learners understand the content that is being delivered. And we'll show you an example of how it will look in the next few slides. So this is the home page of Canvas. So as you can see, they're broken down into modules. So you'll see welcome, and the first page is course instructions. It's just an example. Mandatory Canvas orientation. We'll want to make sure that before you even take the course, is that each person will understand how to use Canvas. So we'll provide a Canvas orientation on how to use the actual software and provide a user's guide. So this is just the home page, and as you can see, there's an account, a dashboard, calendar, inbox, etc. And this is a sample of the course, and this is how the actual course will look like. And it will be embedded into Canvas. So as you can see, there will be a menu item. So you see welcome, instructions, how to get started, video tutorial, and then it will go into the course itself. And on the right-hand side, on the top right, you'll see resources. So for the course's delivery methods, so as you know, Illinois WorkNet is a web portal, and so what we'll have to make sure that learners are engaged and comprehend the content that's covered in the training, we're going to have screen captions. Screen captions is basically a live a caption of the site itself, any website that you put on the training. So instead of you clicking in and out of the training just to go onto the Illinois WorkNet website, it will avoid that. And so you'll just have your access within the course for that website. Gamification will have as well, like I stated prior, those is interactive activities such as drag and drop, fill in the blanks, different activities for you to understand, to assess the actual user's knowledge for that particular lesson. Then we'll have scenarios or case studies. Scenarios is basically, as we stated in the learning objectives, to assess a particular learner's needs. So you'll have various learners based on if they are youth, a person that's returning to the workforce. There may be someone that just was laid off. And so basically, based on their needs, what services or what tools can they use in Illinois WorkNet to help them meet their training and employment goals. And then we'll have some videos and quizzes, and like we stated before, just assessments just to see if you understand the content within each module. So there's a roadmap. The first thing that we're going to roll out is the Illinois WorkNet 101, depending on what we actually call it, Introduction to Illinois WorkNet or Illinois WorkNet 101. And then after you complete that course, we'll start to roll out various foundation courses. And that's when we get into courses like Tammy had recommend, eligibility. We'll have a subject matter expert to help us develop that module so you have more in-depth information on how to understand eligibility, strategies on how to search for job opportunities, career pathways, digital literacy. So these are just some examples that we may have, but it's all based on the needs of our partners, and then we'll roll those out gradually And then we're looking into having a certified Illinois WorkNet advisory course that is more of an in-depth training course that will feature, you know, what we covered in Illinois on WorkNet, but more in depth with our customer support center and things of that matter. So after everyone has taken the course, there's various credentials that they can receive. After the end of the course, you will receive a certificate of completion. You can see this example here. And then we're going to offer digital badges. Digital badges, as you can see in this technology era, users want to showcase, more employers want to see if you have the skills and the knowledge of a particular topic. So say if, for all of us, Illinois WorkNet is that one-stop career shop for us to utilize free tools and guides to help our customers. So you can state that you have an Illinois WorkNet Foundations, you completed the course, and now it's going to be on your, for example, My Dashboard. So you'll see that now you have that badge, or you can actually export your digital badges if you have access or an account with LinkedIn or any other professional websites that you may have, or you can even put it on your resume, if you have a website that has your resume on it. And it's basically visibility stating that you have knowledge of this particular topic. Also, we want to offer continual education units, and basically continuing education units are offered or by request for individuals if they have a certificate, not a certificate, but a certification or a license. So for example, say if you have a certification in human resource management through SHRM, and basically you need to have a certain amount of hours that you need to obtain that particular certification. We can offer continual education units to make sure that you obtain that certification or license. This is optional. It's all based on the needs of the particular user at that particular time. If they need it, it may be something that is required, you know, for your job or whatnot, but it's something that we want to offer our users when taking this course if they need to maintain it. Now, a question was stated in the chat box, will there be a digital badge for each topic or overall course? For this course in particular, Tammy, it will be a digital badge for this course. And as we roll out the foundation courses, like I stated before, various topics like eligibility, career paths, we'll have digital badges as well, yes. And for the CEUs, for short, we'll be working with SIU's conference and scheduling services. They are the ones that subscribe to CEUs, and we'll just be working with them hand in hand to make sure we'll track how many people are requesting CEUs, and so we'll work with them for that. So for this course, we have a total of 10 modules, and as I stated prior, it's going through the entire career development process. So the first module, we're going to introduce you to an overview of Illinois WorkNet, and that's the evolution of Illinois WorkNet, and basically how we started and where we are today and how we've evolved. And then second is scenario introductions. We want to introduce you to the customers that we will be serving throughout the course, so you have a clear background knowledge of what their needs are and their circumstances. And then starting from module 3 all the way up to module 10, we want to go through the career development process, exploring careers. And then once you've identified, you know, what those career options are, how to find educational or training opportunities to make sure you can land that job opportunity or where you're trying to go within your career. And number 10 is really a good, Natasha is like the guru of customer service center, and the various things we use with that for partners to manage mostly track the progress of their customers, where they're at as far as career plans, making sure they use various tools that we have, like resume builder, and special projects. As you may know, we've worked on several projects here in Illinois workNet, like EPIC, returning citizens, and apprenticeships. So introducing you to those various projects that we've been working with, and how Illinois workNet is helping to assist those program needs. And Tammy, you stated as far as CEUs, where do you request the CEUs? Everything will be through us. So if your workforce professionals need a CEU, they will send us a request, but we'll have a formal process for that as well. So it might be a form that they need to complete, so we can take inventory on who's requesting with CEUs. So the course model outline, each model will consist of the following format. You'll have learning objectives, what that actual module will cover, then an introduction video, units, basically the various lessons that we will cover, and activities to assess, to assess the learner's knowledge of what has been covered, and that goes hand in hand with assessment. Now, before we get into next steps, I see that there is a lot of mute, everyone is on mute, but I want to take this time, because we still have some time, to discuss certain things that we've covered, but just to get your feedback, because that is the purpose of this webinar, is to get your feedback, so we'll make sure that we're developing a course that meets your needs as well. So I know we stated for competency skills that we wanted to add cultural awareness, and as far as modules after this course is launched is eligibility. Is there anything that we've discussed throughout this presentation that you're unclear about, or want to know what your involvement will be in this Illinois work group? And Natasha, if I didn't say anything, I missed anything, please feel free to elaborate.
No, I think maybe you're getting ready to go into the next steps, but I thought we'll have other people that have that wanted to participate today, but they weren't able to. So that's one of the reasons why we're recording the the session, so that they can kind of get caught up, because we'll have additional opportunities to comment and provide feedback.
Thanks, Natasha. So going into next steps, so on our end for Illinois workNet, we will email you. We emailed you the presentation, but we'll also email you the recording, and we'll review the webinar and make any revisions to our course training plan based on our conversation today, and prepare for our November 21st outreach plan webinar. And so just wanted to let you all know that the next webinar will be the outreach plan. And basically, we will look at the designs for the logo for the course, look at designs for the digital badge, and how we're going to market this course to make sure everyone knows in the workforce system here in the state of Illinois that this course is available and that it's free. And so that's what the webinar will actually be about. Once again, the date is November 21st. Please feel free to register with the link here. And the task that we asked for the advisory work group is to review any of the materials that has been sent. If you have any additional feedback, please feel free to contact me. And we're going to start in the next couple of weeks rolling out some of the content and just making sure that it aligns and it's clear, but it aligns with the needs of the workforce. Any questions or concerns at this time? Okay. Well, that's all I have for this afternoon. I want to say thank you so much for getting on this webinar. And if you have not yet registered for other additional sessions that we will have, please feel free to use the link, and I'll send that out to you all this afternoon when I send out the recording. But please feel free to contact me if you have any questions or feedback based on this webinar or suggestions. So at this time, just want to say thank you for getting on this course, and I look forward to seeing you all on November 21st. You all have a great day.
Thanks, LaToya.
You're welcome.